Welcome to Before and After Christ, a journey through the sacred narrative of Scripture. Here, we do not rush the story. We walk through it. We listen. We reflect. Because before we understand redemption, we must understand origin. Before we celebrate the cross, we must understand the human heart. This is more than history. This is identity. This is before and after Christ. Before dispersion, there was unity. Before borders divided nations and languages shaped identities, humanity stood together as one people, speaking one tongue, sharing one vision. The flood had passed. The waters had receded. The ark had rested. The earth was clean again, washed by judgment, renewed by mercy. A new beginning lay before humanity. God had spoken clearly after the flood. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. It was not merely an instruction, it was a divine design. Humanity was meant to spread, to cultivate, to depend on God in unfamiliar lands. But the human heart often resists what requires trust. Instead of scattering, they settled. Instead of trusting, they strategized. Instead of worshiping, they planned. The whole earth had one language and one speech. Words flowed easily between them. Agreement came naturally. Collaboration felt powerful. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks. Let us build ourselves a city. Let us build a tower whose top reaches the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Listen carefully to their language. Let us. For ourselves. Our name. This was not architecture, this was ambition. They were not building toward heaven in devotion. They were building toward heaven in defiance. The tower was not about proximity to God. It was about autonomy from God. They feared being scattered. Because dispersion meant dependence. Pride prefers proximity to power. Pride prefers visibility. Pride prefers control. In their unity, they discovered something dangerous: human potential without humility. Bricks replaced stone, mortar replaced clay, innovation advanced, civilization progressed, and progress without reverence began to intoxicate them. Humanity realized something powerful. Together, we can accomplish anything. But that realization without surrender becomes rebellion. The text says something striking. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower. Humanity was striving upward. God was coming downward. The tower that seemed monumental to human eyes required divine descent just to be observed. What appears enormous in pride is small in eternity. God said, "Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language." And this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Notice this carefully. Unity is powerful. But unity without righteousness magnifies corruption. Unity without humility accelerates destruction. If pride had continued unchecked, their rebellion would have matured into something far darker. So God intervened. Not impulsively, not emotionally, but decisively. "Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." Suddenly, communication fractured. Plans collapsed mid-sentence. Coordination dissolved. Confidence eroded. A man spoke, and his brother did not understand. Instructions became noise. Language, once a bridge, became a barrier. And the city stopped. The tower froze mid-construction. Ambition crumbled. The place was called Babel. Confusion. But was this only judgment? Or was it mercy? If God had allowed pride to reach full maturity, humanity might have united in global rebellion. God disrupted them to preserve them. He scattered them to prevent deeper corruption. Sometimes divine interruption is protection. Sometimes what feels like frustration is mercy in disguise. Babel is not merely an ancient story. It is a mirror. Every time we attempt to secure identity without God, we build Babel. Every time we pursue success without gratitude, we stack bricks. Every time we seek recognition above obedience, we raise a tower. The desire to make a name for ourselves still pulses in modern hearts. We build platforms. We build reputations. We build influence. We build brands. We build legacies. And we quietly whisper, "Let us make a name for ourselves." But Scripture teaches something profound. Names are safest when given by God, not seized by ambition. After Babel, humanity was scattered. Languages diversified. Cultures emerged. Nations formed. And yet, the hunger for heaven remained. But the method mattered. Shortly after Babel, God calls a man, not a crowd, not a civilization, one man, Abraham. In Babel, humanity said, "Let us make a name." With Abraham, God said, "I will make your name great." The contrast is deliberate. Pride self-promotes. Faith waits. Pride climbs. Faith follows. Pride constructs. Faith trusts. Babel represents collective human self-exaltation. Abraham represents surrendered obedience. The tower sought heaven through height. God would later reach humanity through descent. The pattern is consistent. When humanity tries to ascend by strength, God intervenes. When humanity humbles itself, God exalts. The cross stands as the ultimate reversal of Babel. At Babel, humanity tried to rise to heaven. At the cross, heaven came down to humanity. At Babel, languages divided. In Acts, at Pentecost, languages united again under the Spirit. Pride scattered. Grace gathered. The story of Babel is not about architecture. It is about orientation. Where is your heart pointed? Upward in ambition or downward in surrender? Babel teaches us that talent without humility is dangerous. Unity without righteousness is unstable. Progress without dependence is fragile. God is not threatened by human achievement. He is concerned about human pride, because pride precedes collapse. The tower fell silent. The bricks cooled. The city emptied. But heaven remains sovereign. Humanity tried to climb. God chose to descend. And he still descends. Not to confuse, but to call. Not to scatter, but to redeem. To understand the after Christ, we must understand Babel. Because the cross is the anti-tower. Where pride said, "We will ascend," love said, "I will descend." And in that descent, confusion finds clarity. Division finds reconciliation. And scattered hearts find home. This is the story of Babel. Not merely confusion, but confrontation. Not merely scattering, but preservation. Not merely judgment, but mercy. And the question remains, are we building towers? Or are we building altars? The reflection we can have regarding this episode is, Babel confronts something uncomfortable inside us. The desire to be seen, to be known, to be remembered. There is nothing wrong with influence. There is nothing wrong with achievement. But when our name becomes more important than his presence, we begin to stack bricks. Pride often disguises itself as productivity. It feels like progress. It looks like success. But it distances the heart from surrender. God did not destroy Babel because he feared their strength. He intervened because he loved them too much to let pride define them. Sometimes the most merciful thing God can do is interrupt our construction. If something in your life feels paused, if a plan collapsed, if communication broke down, ask yourself, was it confusion or was it protection? Babel reminds us that heaven is not reached by climbing. It is received by kneeling. And the cross proves that God does not wait for us to ascend. He descends